In fact, he came to do speaking, but when you've got Wynton Marsalis in your high school, you really want him to pick up the trumpet and do a little playing. And entertainment reporter Norman Mark was there this afternoon and says that's exactly what he did. Pretty good?
Oh, he's my new hero.
Fantastic.
He is terrific, so sweet, especially when you consider he wasn't supposed to play at all. Wynton Marsalis, at the age of 25, may very well be America's finest jazz and classical trumpeter. He goes back and forth from both disciplines. He came to Whitney Young High School today to lecture to the students. His manager didn't want him to play. It wasn't part of the deal. But when Wynton Marsalis had his trumpet in his hand, he played and he played. Marsalis is the only person to win Grammys for both jazz and classical playing in the same year. And he's only 25. He was at Whitney Young High School today to help kick off a 3-year jazz education program in Chicago schools.
In today's terms, geniuses of music are people who are adults who are capable of accurately presenting adolescent passions. So you know that's backwards.
Yeah. Born in New Orleans in 1961, Marsalis didn't pick up a trumpet until he was 12. Do you have any advice to students who might be just like you, 12 years old and thinking about what they're going to do with their life?
First, to decide what they want out of music. And if they do just want to be on stage and, you know, they think that they can have groupies and make a lot of money, then, I mean, I wish them good luck. That's a very hard thing to do. There's no guarantee that they'll make that. But if they wish to study music and get the human value out of it, I would suggest that they really seriously fall in love with music and examine as much quality music as they can.
After the lecture, after answering the questions of the students, Wynton Marsalis was the most cooperative star we've ever encountered.
You know, I really love this trumpet. And you know where I learned to play? In school.
And then he took up his trumpet and played. It wasn't what he came to do, but he seemed unable to stop it. Just a little impromptu jam for our cameras. Now, Wynton Marsalis is an ambassador for jazz. Well, jazz isn't dead with him around.
Absolutely. Thank you, Norman.
Sure isn't.
Schools. And as Rush Ewing reports, the program began on a very high note.
The kickoff concert was 35 minutes of jazz by a group of well-known Chicago musicians. One of their numbers, Duke Ellington's Take the A Train. The concert was the beginning of a public high school jazz education program. It will bring concerts and lectures to 15 schools this year and hopefully double that number next year. It was a surprise to some faculty members when the students who have had a steady diet of rock music over the years knew all about Wynton Marsalis. Marsalis is known as one of the finest trumpet players on the scene today, and he told students that reaching any goal is not easy.
Like when I was a teenager, I used to call people all over the country. I wanted to play trumpet more than anything in the world. Since it is apparent that this information is not readily available, you have to go out of your way to get it. Do you know what I mean?
Marsalis said that he believes that the reading, mathematics, and dedication needed to seriously study music will make some students better students even before they realize what's happening to them. From Whitney Young, Russ Ewing, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And Russ tells us the next jazz programs will be held October the 7th in the Hyde Park Career Academy, October the 21st in the Lakeview High School.
That's
I guess
great.
you have to be a student to go, but that's too bad.
Well, so many jazz
Rap
groups.
as their favorite kind of music. But as Bob Wallace tells us, some kids at Whitney Young Magnet School got to hear some sounds their parents might dig.
The Jazz Institute All-Stars, playing in Whitney Young Magnet School at 10 in the morning. Not the usual place or time for these musicians to be performing. The concert was the kickoff for Chicago Public Schools' jazz education program. The program will be held every 2 weeks, rotating among 15 Chicago high schools. Students will hopefully learn more about this truly American form of music. The guest speaker for this first session was warmly greeted by students and faculty alike as he slipped in a side door. The speaker was Wynton Marsalis, two-time Grammy Award-winning trumpeter in both jazz and classical categories. Unfortunately, most of the students missed this chance to hear Marsalis play. He jammed after the program with drummer Wilbur Campbell. Although few students got to hear him play, those in the auditorium for the formal program got to hear him speak.
First thing to be a serious student of music is you have to have a serious love for music. Not a love for seeing yourself on the stage playing music. This is something that I really want you all to understand. There's a difference between loving music and loving yourself as a musician.
Did you get a message from him?
I did. The thing about loving music instead of loving yourself as a musician really hit home. I think it applies to a lot of people I know and to myself.
It inspired me to reach for my goals and to do the best that I could in whatever I try to accomplish. I learned a lot from it.
Like you said, next time I go into a record store, I'll stop in the jazz section and check the records out.
Sounds as if Wynton Marsalis got his message across. Bob Wallace, Channel 2 News.
The next concert will be held at Hyde Park Career Academy on October 7th without Wynton Marsalis. And on that note, that's our broadcast.